Thank you. Thank you. I think we can now start. I hope everyone can hear me. Yes, I believe so. My name is Kotlisang Kase. I'm a project officer at the Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions, SACAU in short. And I would like to thank you for joining us on this webinar entitled Putting Farmers in the Lead, Unpacking Farmer-Led Research for Agroecological Transition. This event is hosted by SACAU in collaboration with Agricot. And I am not going to be moderating the session. I will have to introduce the person who's going to take us or who's going to moderate the session. But before that, I would just like our colleague, Ms. Doretta, to give us some housekeeping rules. Doretta, can you help us on housekeeping rules, please?
Certainly, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome into the meeting. I would like to just go through a few, just the general meeting rules. We are recording the proceedings, but it is for minute-taking purposes, so we won't disseminate this. Please, if you've got any comments or interventions you would like to make, you're welcome to raise your hand or put it in the chat box. Our moderator will get through to that as soon as possible. Also, please, in the, how do they say, conservation of time, please be concise and to the point so we don't have very long discussions on one point so that we can move through the meeting. We also ask that if you are speaking, switch on your video. If you're not speaking, you're welcome to switch it off so we conserve bandwidth as well. Yes, I think from our side, as I said earlier on, we are having English to French interpreters in the meeting, also Portuguese. So you're welcome to go to the interpretation button, select the language you would like to listen to, and then you just click forget original audio. Did put the steps in the chat box as well. So you can just quickly go and check in there as well. There we go. Thank you so much. Back to you, Totlisang.
Thank you very much, Dorita. I would like to now introduce our moderator, who is Dr. Evelyn Sawadogo. She's a senior scientist at the Institute of Environmental and Agricultural Research in Burkina Faso. Her area of interest includes innovation systems, approaches to the diffusion of innovation. She's currently working on understanding the most effective way for strengthening farmers' resilience in West Africa. I would like Dr. Evelyn to elaborate more on her what do you call it, study or the field of her interest. Dr. Evelyn, can you please take the floor, please?
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to moderate this session. I hope you can hear me perfectly. So yeah, I'm very pleased to be here. That's my first time to interact directly with SACAO. And yeah, this is something that I really appreciate, that I've been drawn into this context. And I think he said it all, except that he didn't mention that I am from the Institute for Environment and Agricultural Research in Burkina Faso. So he summarized very well my profile. I don't think I'm going to say more unless there is some few questions. I'm just going to go straight into the point as a moderator for this session, because the topic we have this evening is a very exciting topic, which is putting the farmers in the lead to unpack farmer-led research for agroecological transformation. I must say from my own perspective that this is actually the key challenge for where is the position of the farmers when it comes to diffuse, or when it comes for farmers to definitely take the lead for the sake of agriculture to reach the end users, and also for agriculture to reach our own goal, which is the food security. So I'm very pleased to be here. Before I I show my screen for the timetable on which we are going to follow and the program. I just want to just highlight the fact that this is the first webinar, to the best of my knowledge, which is going to open up the series of other conceptual and practical foundations and discussion, specifically following approaches, concepts that are going to be discussed. So this afternoon, we are going to begin this session with discussion around farmer-led research, farmer-centric research, action research, participatory research, and also some participatory technological development, ideas about living lab, citizen science, farmer field schools, and knowledge co-creations, and so on. So just to put you into the context, and this is quite very crucial in our context, and I assume we are going to have a key people who are going to make a presentation to us before we can have a deep discussion around this key topic. So I'm just going straight away, if you don't have any objection, to just share my screen with you, if that is all right. If you give me the floor, I'm just sharing my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
perfect. Yeah, okay, perfect. So, yeah, just before we move into the typical topic that we are going to discuss this afternoon, I would like to, I don't know if Sakao have something to say before I give the floor to Mate for the quick show of the Mentimeter for warming up our discussion. Or also, if I don't know how many we are online, if we are going to, I guess it won't be essential for now, but anybody who's going to have a chance to ask a question or to speak, if you can just quickly introduce yourself and your institutions, and that will make us, by the end of this discussion, to know each other better than now. So, yeah. So I don't know if Mr. Ishmael, I hope I'm pronouncing very well your name, is around, or
Perfect.
or Lucas is around to just say something to welcome people who are all online and very excited to get involved into this great discussion. Thank you, and the floor is yours, Ismail.
Thank you, moderator, and greetings to everyone. My name is Ishmael Sunga. Most of you online, I believe, know me. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Southern African Confederation of Agricultural Unions, SACAU in short. I'm quite pleased to see you all. I see that we have quite a big number, 55. I hope it increases or it remains the same, at least until when we are done, except for one person. That might be me, because I have other commitments I need to jump off before the end of the meeting. But again, just to welcome you from the side of SACAU, and just to underscore the importance of this topic. I think this topic is so fundamental in most of the things that we do. Yes, the topic at the moment is looking at agroecology, is looking at research, and really talking about putting farmers in the lead. But it cuts across all the different aspects of farmers' lives outside research. It could be in terms of policy-making processes. It could be in terms of putting items on the agenda. It could be in terms, so it is really an issue that quite often the farmers' voices are not leading in most of the things that are fundamental to them, in things that matter to them. It is important that the voice of farmers, particularly on agricultural development matters, actually takes the lead. And it's time that we should do that. Quite often, we are following the conversations that are being initiated by other actors, and then we follow. Rarely do we initiate our own conversations and then call people to the party and they start following us. Quite often, we are invited by others to go and interact with them on a topic of their choice. And when we go there, sometimes we don't agree with what is being discussed, but we are not able to shift the debate that is already set by an agenda that is coming from those that invite us. I've always said this, and I've said it quite a few times, that if you are invited to a party, to a meeting, your first instinct is to behave. You don't disagree very rigorously with someone that has invited you. I always say once more that invitees have limited rights. Unless and until we're able to say that which we want to say and able to lay it out in such a way that it is understood by those that we want to say it to them, and then invite them to come to us and listen to us, we are not going to go as far as we can or as we could. So this topic really is about that. Quite often we do our own research, which speaks to the language that we know, the environment that we know, all the different socio-economic aspects that we know, and we understand how things work. But we don't get recognized as researchers in our own right. It is the research that is done by those that are conventional so-called researchers that has more merit than the research that we do. More merit, not in terms of them functioning on the ground, but more merit in terms of it being recognized as a good piece of work. And yet ours could actually have more merit because it yields the results that we want. But because it is not communicated, it is not done in such a way that those that say they are researchers are actually able to say, yes, it's actually a good piece of work. But we don't necessarily need their authentication. But the point really being that, without wasting too much time, that we really want to be able to generate our own knowledge, which we already do, to be able to put the agenda items around which we want to do research, and to be able to lead the research together with also conventional researchers, and more importantly, to be able to use the results of the research to communicate more effectively, better, with a view of influencing those that we wish to influence, which could be the market or could be policymakers, and it can also be other organizations. Looking forward to an exciting discussion this afternoon, and definitely prior discussions between ourselves and Agroecological show that there's a lot of potential. This is only the beginning, and watch the space. And I say I end here, and over to moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ismail Shunga. I think you just made a very great opening session by tackling the three aspects that we should not forget: policies, but also like researcher, but how are we going to get this thing organized in a more systematic way where farmers has to take the lead, because everything usually falls on them and they don't have usually the big voice or the position where they should belong to make things move forward. Thank you so much for this opening, exciting, I mean, that you just throw on the table. I'm going to move straight into the next session, which is mainly how are we going to get the warm up with the mentor. I think I should stop my screen so that Martin, you share your screen. Am I right?
Evelyn,
Wait.
Lucas also should say a word. Supposed to say a
Okay.
word.
If he's around. Oh, sorry.
That's to say.
I
Yeah,
was
no
not sure if
worries.
he was online. Okay. Sorry, Mr. Lucas.
No
I
problem
should
at
have
all.
paid attention. I know it's the two of you, but yeah, I was
I
not sure if both of you were
I
online or
see
not, because I
I
don't know
see
you.
you
Thank you.
I see we are eager to get to it, so I'll keep it short. Yeah, so good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone,
Thank you.
depending where you are. And on behalf of Agricord as well, I'm delighted to welcome all of you to this first session of the webinar series. My name is Lucas Hadas, and I'm a program coordinator at the Agricord Secretariat in Brussels. And for those who don't know, Agricord is a global alliance of 13 agri-agencies. You see their logos here on the screen. From Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. So each of them is mandated by their own farmers' organizations in their countries, and together we work to strengthen farmers' organizations worldwide. So this webinar, you heard it, is part of the Farmers Organizations Leading Research and Innovation Program, in short, FORI. And this is the first instance of a four-part series. And today's session is really about laying the foundations. So we will discuss the core concepts and basically set the stage for deeper, more focused discussions in the sessions that follow. So I hope you will approach today as the starting point for a discourse. And when I'm listening to Mr. Sunga, we should maybe even say our discourse. And we hope that you join us for the entire series as we will collectively build our common discourse step by step. So this is an interactive session, and there will be moments to capture your perspectives and questions, and we encourage you to share your experiences and ideas throughout. That's what will make it interesting, in fact. So just to close up, I want to say a very warm thanks to our friends and partners at SACAO, today represented by Mr. Ismail Songa and his team. And they're not only part of the FORI program, but they are also the primary organizers of this series with Agricord. So lastly, we're also grateful for the European Union and the OECPS for their financial support because they make the program possible. And then, of course, we are honored to have you, Dr. Evelyn Compaore, to guide us through today's session, and also our panelists, Fetienne Abe and Stuart Oates. So their expertise will hopefully help us to unpack the important concepts and set the stage for the upcoming exchanges. Thank you once again, and yeah, let's get into it.
Thank you so much, Lucas, and sorry again for forgetting to give you the floor. I think this is great to just mention the fact that this is a very interactive session where the different point of views are supposed to be shared, discussed, and then perspective, learning from each other is a very key aspect that you have highlighted. So having said so, I think now I can then give the floor to Martin. Do you want me to just close my screen? Or, yeah, okay. So let me just stop sharing so that we can get into. Perfect. Yeah, the floor is yours, Martin.
Thank you, Evelyn. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I am Martin Agouton. I am the coordinator of the FORI program. FORI, as Lucas was saying, FORI stands for Farmers Organization Leading Research and Innovation on Agroecology for Sustainable Food System. And this program is the program under which we are conducting this initiative. We are organizing this webinar. So FORI, basically, before we go to this exercise of this game on word cloud, I wanted to just briefly mention some points about the FORI program. So FORI, the objective is to strengthen the capacities of the farmers' organization. And in FORI, we strengthen the capacities to conduct research, to conduct experiments at local level. And we have 13, in total, 13 action research projects in the program being implemented in 17 countries across the globe. And these action research projects are also complemented by lobbying and advocacy initiatives being implemented at the regional level in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, and in the Pacific. So here we are now focusing on the aspect of farmer-led research. And when it comes to farmer-led research, we think about many things. Many things comes in our mind. We have different concepts. Participatory research, action research, co-creation, and so on. And sometimes it confuses people. These different concepts confuse people. And yes, we wanted to have this exercise of this game to collect some feedback or information from you, what you think about this. When you hear family-led research, what comes in your mind? What does this mean for you? So in just one word, we would like to hear from you this. So I wanted to share my screen so that you can use your, the game will consist of using just your cell phone and scan the QR code that I will just display on the screen. And then this will bring you to the a page where you can provide your input in terms of what comes in your mind when you hear you hear family-led research. Okay. Share. What is this? Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Martin. Yes, Martin.
Just come again.
Yeah.
So please, this is the exercise. Just use your cell phone to scan the QR code that you see here. In one word, what comes to your mind when you hear family-led research? We have already some responses: opportunity, collaboration, farmers. Practitioner knowledge, efficient. Yes, it's an opportunity. Ownership, collaboration. Ingenuity, indigenous knowledge. Yeah. Centric research. Advancement. Involvement. Yes, we can see diverse responses from the participant. Knowledge. Yes. Okay. Evidence generation. Inclusivity. Yes, when we hear family-led research, of course, we would like to involve everybody, farmers, different actors, researchers, farmers, and local actors to participate in the process and collaboratively regenerate knowledge, innovation. What else?
Somebody want to add practical because he cannot access.
Breeding objectives.
chat.
Okay, I think we have interesting outputs, inputs. You provided interesting inputs, and as you can see, all these words they are related to family-led research, and sometimes we need to explain and provide make some differences between the words, some few clarification in order to avoid some confusion. So that's why today we are holding this session to clarify some concepts about family-led research, and the expert we have in this meeting will help us in this exercise. So I will stop here and give the floor and hand over to Evelyn for the next step.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the floor back. And like Martin was just saying, we can already see how diverse and how each of us has his own or her own perspective when the person talks about or hear about farmers-led research, which is a very exciting things to mention. So then we are going to move forward to give the floor to, I think Etienne is not around, so we are going to give the floor to Mr. Stuart Oates. So, and he's going to talk to us about his perceptions, how he understands, and how he actually question or theoretically think about this concept when you heard farmers-led research, and also about all these key aspects that we were just raising at the beginning of this session. So I'm just going to go quickly to give the floor to Mr. Stewart to give his presentation. Then we will get back engaged into the discussions, questions, and contributions. Thank you. Stuart, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping you ask me questions because I'm hoping that I want people to ask what they want to know rather than just me chat at you. So I'm a farmer from Cornwall in the UK. We're at the very southwest point of the UK, and we've been on our farm for 250 years. So I'm the seventh generation. So we've just about worked out how to farm. But now moving forward, we are getting more and more excited about trying to change farming for the better for everyone. Now, I farm with my dad and my brother, and we all have a very similar ethos. We farm a very mixed enterprise with beef and sheep and crops. But we're always open to new ideas. We do a lot of environmental work as well now for other agencies. And the more and more we sort of get involved with different projects, the more we realize actually so much knowledge doesn't exist, or knowledge has been sort of researched in a very narrow way, done by the book. And what we've really realized is that we, as farmers, are a real key part of research which has been missing for so many years from a huge amount of research. I think growing up and becoming a farmer, I used to think, it's not for me. I'm not good enough to be a researcher. My brain isn't big enough to be able to advance farming for the future. And as I actually also work in TV and radio as a producer, and so I've actually been incredibly lucky. I've got to travel all over the country and, in fact, around the world, meeting all sorts of scientists, farmers, environmentalists. And what I've realized is they're no smarter than me. So what I've realized is that I need to be part of that. And they want me to be part of that. They want farmers to get involved. We have a relationship with a university in the UK, and they really struggle to find farmers who will engage with on-farm research. And so they actually have ended up having to go to other countries to find farmers who will join in with research in the areas that they want to do. And so my thoughts are that we need to step forward and say, I want to be involved with this. And so One of the organizations that we work with is Innovative Farmers, and I see Laura's just jumped on the call here from Innovative Farmers. And so what it is a little, it's sort of a smallish, actually, grant pot of about £10,000. So you can go to them and say, I want to do this on my farm. I've got this problem that I want to solve. It shouldn't really cost you as a farmer all the time to solve the whole industry's problems. So this little pot of money is able to support that and bring together other farmers so that we have that collaboration element. And I noticed a lot of the words on the little the game said we're all around working together. And that's a big core part of this. So we've got that element of it, but also bring in some science as well to make sure that the findings of what we're going to look for are relevant to everyone and they actually do stand up to scrutiny. Because when you step out there and start saying, we can change something, we can do better, a lot of people are ready there and waiting to say, you're wrong, you're everything that we don't agree with. And so you need that science behind it. You need it written up properly, and you need to be able to go out there, be proud of the evidence that you've got, and show it to everyone and say, actually, this is great, and you need to join us in this. So that's really excited us as a farm, as a family. And so moving forward from that, we've kind of got ourselves caught up in lots of different farm innovation now. So we've found this whole new niche for our farm of trying to help innovate in many different ways. As I said, we're really focused on environmental work, so sustainability and that kind of thing. And so all of our projects do tend to go around our knowledge base, which is in that area. And so we're now looking at much larger projects, and we're looking at maybe working internationally collaboratively as well. And one of the big, wonderful pots of money, which is always useful, of course, that's helping support us in the UK now is a thing called Adopt. And that's a bigger pot of up to £100,000 where, again, you can bring lots of farmers together to study a topic and do on-farm innovation. And so those topics have always have to be farmer led. And I think that's a really important part of anything that going forward. Farmer led means that it's the farmer's choice of what they do. And it's the farmer who has to sign it off at the end of the day saying that that's what they need to be done. So I think and so for that one, for example, we're going to be looking at alternative energies and how we can turn our farm into energy security for the nation, food security for the nation, and environmental security for the nation. And so if we can bring all those things together, it increases the value of us as farmers. It hopefully makes people want to pay a little more for their food because of the benefits that they're giving to their whole country, not just what there's going on their plate. So I will leave it there and ask if you have any more questions around what we do and just generally thoughts on farm innovation.
Thank you so much, Stuart, for this great perspective of as a farmer from 7th generation. It was very good that I just let you describe this aspect of yourself as a farmer, but as a farmer who has, received from 7th generation knowledge, and I suppose which was transmitted as well in terms of great grandparents, grandparents, and then from you to also those who are going to come after you are going to have a kind of legacy from the way you are farming and the way you see your position, your place, and the role you have to play in these big food systems for your sake and also for the sake for those who are going to consume the product that you are delivering in your everyday activity. I think this is a very great start that you're just making here, and it sometimes tickles me because as somebody from the South and from farming, which is a different level, you automatically see how do you look and compare how farmers get to free themselves and then realize that my competencies can also be evaluated or equal to the so-called research formalized knowledge that sometimes does not focus on what you need, but from what they see, from what you need. you know, sometimes you believe you know the person better than the person knows themselves, but actually we all need to realize as researchers, they know best themselves, that we think we know them. And this is a kind of a shift of paradigm that is bringing now this kind of research, research, action research perspectives and things like that. I think I'm going to open the floor for more questions and contributions. But I just have a very quick question. I wonder where you position your farming. Do you think you are a large-scale farmer, or you are in the medium-scale farming, and then, or you are a small-scale farmer where you more care about the environment than, having quite lot to harvest in terms of yield in the end of the season? Just a curious question, and then I leave the floor to people who are online. Thank you.
No problem. So I would say that we would be somewhere in the middle. We're not a massive farm. We're not a small farm. So we we own about 300 acres, which would be about 120 hectares. But we actually farm nearly 1,500 acres. So we farm for other people as well. So about 600 hectares. And so, but a lot of that farm work that we do for other people is environmental management. So we aren't producing a huge amount of food because the landscapes that we're looking after, they're not croppable. They are mainly used for grazing. So things like heathland, which is an ancient semi-arid grassland. So you can't plow that. It's like a savanna, I guess. And so you can't plow that. You have to look after it. And it's very, very rare in the UK. We're the seventh most nature depleted country in the world. So we kind of have to do something about that. So these really rare habitats need looking after. So that's a lot of the work we do. So no, we don't produce enough food, actually, I would say, as a farm. We would like to produce more. And research we're doing is at looking at producing a lot more food while also doing good for nature. I don't think it should be a one or the other. And I think that's a huge growth area for all of agriculture. I'd say, actually, having traveled around the world very recently for a Nuffield farming scholarship, I'm studying fossil-free farming. But the thing I've noticed going around the world is that the people who are really advancing agriculture are the ones who've realized that it's cheaper to work with nature than against nature. And so those people who are advancing their soil science, the biology elements of soil, those are the people who are really going to be leading the world in agriculture. And so, finding those opportunities and then bringing them back here for on-farm research is something I'm incredibly passionate about.
Great. I think we have some of the questions that are put on the chat. So I'll just go quickly from the one on top, where the person is asking if you emphasize that I was wondering if you were a member of a farmer organization and how they might be involved in your own farm trials. And if not, how you collaborate with other farmers, I guess in the UK and also probably outside the UK.
Yeah, so we're not official members of anything really. I'd say we're affiliated with many, many organizations. So one organization, so we're members of the Soil Association because we're organic and therefore we're registered with the Soil Association. So that's number one. But we're also members of the Nature Friendly Farming Network. Again, it's a voluntary, you can just join up, anyone can. And then I am an associated member of the National Farmers Union, but I don't really engage with that. It's not. It's kind of such a large organization. It's hard to meet individuals within it. So I would say, in terms of how to collaborate with other farmers, I think meet your neighbors is step one. I think working in a local context cannot be overestimated because the types of situations that you have, the problems, the nuances of problems and things that need to be solved are often very local in their context. So say, for example, here we have loads and loads of tiny fields. And so that's very uncommon in the UK. And it means that we have this huge opportunity for nature, but it also makes us really inefficient at doing mass scale agriculture because we have to move between fields with crops. And so, those are the types of things where, okay, what we discover in our area isn't necessarily going to be very relevant for someone else. So I think those are the kind of things we always think about when we think about who to collaborate with. But also, because I've been very lucky to have traveled in my work in all different times of my life, I know loads of people. And so I've got a big list of people in my phone who I think might be interested in this, that, and the other. And I'm always happy to talk at events like this. So if I'm perfectly honest, after this, I hope someone comes to me and says, let's collaborate on a project. That's the type of thing which really excites me. And I hope, comes out of these types of things. So I'm always willing to speak at an event. And I think that's where real, true combining of passions come together. Rather than going to my neighbor and saying, would you come and help me do this? You get someone else coming across the room and saying, wow, I love what you're doing. I want to do it too. That's a really exciting time. And I think that's when the best projects come together.
Yeah, thank you so much. You just mentioned that you are part of the Nature Friendly Network. And one of the questions is, what type of work do you do with this kind of environmental industry? Is there typical work or thing that you do together?
So the environmental work wouldn't be through the Nature Friendly Farming Network. The environmental work is quite varied, I guess. So we have an organization in the UK called the National Trust, and it's a huge landowner, and it's a charity owned by the people. And basically, they have a huge drive at the moment to go towards more nature-friendly farming practices. And so around my area, it's an area of outstanding natural beauty. And so there's lots of areas that they own and they want to protect. And so we run a project called Meadow Match. So we create species-rich grasslands. We've developed equipment to be able to harvest seeds and things like that ourselves. And so that's one thing we do. And we do that for them, and they'll pay us because they have budgets for that. Natural England, which is a quango. So it's basically a kind of government organization. And they have the similar sort of remit. So they will also be trying to do good things for nature in very important habitats. And so those are the types of things where we'll get involved. And so because we've been here for 7 generations looking after this really rare heathland habitat, we've got all of the knowledge of how to maintain it and make sure that the biodiversity stays. So they ask us to look after it. It's cheap for them because there's one thing that farmers is really efficient. And so we can do anything cheaper than anyone in a big company. And so we'll do work for them. And then looking at other things. So we have our national payment scheme, which is the SFI, the Sustainable Farming Incentive. And that is accessible by any farmer to do good environmental stuff on their farm. And so we're able to access payments through that to do other things. So things like planting trees or to make agroforestry, or in our hedgerows to make space for nature, or leaving hedgerows grow out, leaving margins by the side of hedgerows to allow for nature to spread and have some more area. So those have specific payments per acre, and essentially that's all part of our environmental work too.
Great. I think
Maybe Evelyn, just to let you know that the second panelist is also in the room.
Okay, so I just moved for the the question which is on the screen, and then we can give the floor to the second panelist. I can if it see Fetian. Okay, thank you so much. So the other question is, you didn't raise it as an issue, but somebody is wondering with the issue of access to land. I wonder if it's the same issue that we are facing in Africa, and have you maybe considered hydroponics farming as one of the solutions sometimes?
So, hydroponics, I would say not specifically, but access to land is a huge issue, especially in a country as small as our island. And in fact, we live on a peninsula at the very, very bottom of the country. So we have no space to expand as a farm. But access to land, in my opinion, is about relationships. And so we are always building relationships very long term that if we can then step in and provide someone with a solution to their problems, like the National Trust, they needed someone to help them. They knew us already because we had built that relationship and they came and asked us for help. Now, hydroponics, I think, has a huge opportunity. I would say it doesn't fit with our current business model. Hydroponics takes a small amount of land, obviously, and you can get high output. And I think a lot of the key to that then is about efficiencies all the way through the supply chain. And because we're so far down in the country, transport is an expensive portion of the food cost. And so if I was building a new hydroponics farm, I probably wouldn't build it on my farm. I would build it somewhere else in a more suitable location to start farming hydroponics. But we are looking at other opportunities around finding new space to grow things. We have the Cornish Seaweed Company based on our farm, and seaweed and seafood in general is a huge opportunity for the future. In fact, there's no known poisonous species of seaweed; they're all edible. So, this company, we're working with them at looking at growing seaweed on land and also farming seaweed at sea as well. So, yes, I think looking at land access is a big problem for everyone and something we all need to be looking at.
Oh, thank you so much for raising this and for highlighting the fact that collaborating sometimes can help solve some of the issue of access to land so that, yeah, you can keep moving forward. I think I could see some hands raising on the group. So I wonder if there is a burning question before there is another question that is here. And then I just want to give the floor to Etienne and then we can continue the discussion. But before that, if there is any burning question that cannot wait, so I can just give the floor to the person. There is one question also on the chat that I will quickly give to you. But if there's any burning question, I cannot see the hands. So please just feel free to stop me and then ask your question. So the question which is here is there an issue of inclusion in agriculture? Because in Africa, which is associated with access to land, favoring more men than women. So we wonder if there is this stratification in the society and sometimes this kind of favoritism to typical people like men compared to women. Do you face this kind of challenge, which is kind of societal issue in the African cultural context, where like if you had like a sister, she might not be able to have the legacy from the dad to work on the farm, even if she would love to, because yeah, this land will never belong to her, but we belong to the to those who are men in the family. For instance, if you want to say a few words on that.
Yeah, so I would say that inclusion across so many ways, just not just through gender, but through race and religion, is such an important thing to discuss. And I think it is a problem here too. You know, I'm the seventh generation on my farm, but we've all been men who've been given that farm all the way out through. And but actually, so my brother, I farm with my brother, and he's the one who will be taking on the farm afterwards. So he will be the owner of the farm because I decided that I have my own other interests that I'm going to do separately as well. So his most interested child is his daughter, and so it's quite likely that she will be the one to take on the farm. And do you know, I think it's only in the last 10 years where we've really everyone started going, no, farmers can be men, women, and there's no, when you say a farmer, you do tend to go he. And we've just got to stop ourselves. And I think as passionate female farmers or passionate farmers from different ethnic backgrounds or different able-bodied or less able-bodied farmers, it's important that every time they stand up and say, no, no, and shout loud and be proud of wanting to do it. And because I think farming's always been seen as this very traditional, stuffy, old-fashioned industry. And I think we need to stop that. It's not. It's a proper business. and it needs to be run by proper business people who are going to take it seriously, and therefore can be run by absolutely anyone. And it isn't something out of a picture book that is an old farmer with a piece of straw in his mouth. We all want to be respected as business leaders, and I think inclusion's a nightmare for everyone in every country, and I think it goes across all industries. And I think it's something that we need to always be very, very wary of.
Thank you so much. There is another question that I want to keep because it's a quite strategic question that I will ask you after Fetien comes on board. I don't know if it is okay. There is Noel Cafera, I think, has a burning question. So I will give you the floor, or if not, I can move on with Fetien and you can still ask your question.
Hello.
Noel, yeah, please go ahead. I'm
All
keeping
right.
Lucas' question for later. I didn't forget it. Please.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stuart, for your presentation. And it's interesting and exciting to see that there is need for really indeed farmers-led research, especially like in our country here in Malawi. Farmers generally they have the experience. How do they build the experience? It's because they have been conducting research, but it's not really documented. And there's no such collaboration between universities which are known for research or research institutions. And I think I'm excited and interested, and I would like also to engage further with you to learn how we can do this in Malawi through our farmers organization, which is Farmers Union of Malawi. So maybe after the presentation, we'll take it on to learn a few things and see how we can possibly collaborate over this. Thank you so much.
Great. I think in the end of the meeting, we will share your email contact on the chat so that people can reach you as soon as they want. But I will still keep Lucas' question for later. Yeah. So, Fetien, hello. If you are around, I think I would love to give the floor to you because you are going to speak with us as a member of a scientific committee of 40 and a senior scientist director of the Center of Plant Breeding, Genetics, and Genomics of South Carolina State University. We'd love to give you the floor to just share your knowledge and also share your experiences on the topic that we are handling this afternoon on farmer-led innovation in terms of getting a fulfilled food for everyone and also to take care of the environment in the context of agroecology. So Fetien, can I give you the floor? For now, your mic is muted. If you can unmute and then the floor.
Thank you.
If you want to share your screen, you feel free to do so. If not, you have the floor.
Okay. Good morning. Here it is around 9 a.m. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here. Maybe my camera is a bit blurred, but I can speak without the camera also. My name is Fatia Nabara. I am Ethiopian. I used to be in Mekelle University in northern part of Ethiopia. So I did my research as a breeder in a crop called barley, but I did so many things in other cereal crops also. So I used to work in dry area in the northern part. And I have so many experiences, so many failures and successes. And today I was told by the committee to present the concept. You know, we have different names, and why are we really? Where are we? What is farmer-led? How does it differ with others? And I think I have a screen because I'm using my mobile. If Martin can share my screen. Martin, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he can share the one I sent him this morning with one slide addition, I would appreciate. Can you hear me? Is it clear?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay.
Marta, can you find the, I think he's going to share it.
Yeah, so till Martin share on the concept
I'm trying
presentation.
to, I will share it right now.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Let me know how much time I have so that you know.
Yeah,
When you are a university person, you always, you know, take
I will,
sense.
I will remind you that we have up to 15 minutes. If you can do less, so we get in the interaction, but you have up to 15 minutes for your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Martin, this is not the first, I think this is not the first page. Martin, I sent you right now.
Oh,
I
right
have
now.
Yeah, I mean, before few, not now, but before few minutes, this is the first slide that I just sent to you this morning.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay, I'm sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see my screen?
I think it's coming
It's
from
coming.
my side.
It's coming.
Perfect. I can see it.
Can you view it? Can you view? Screen view?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you
Perfect.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today I'm going to present a farmer-led extension, farmer-led research concept. The concept, you know, why are we really, how do we differentiate the different concepts already, you know, promoted by different projects? We are always promoting farmer-led, and I will try to explain the differences of different concepts. Please continue. Next. Martin?
I think he did it. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, you know, why are we really concerned about the concept? You know, it is about the concept is about the participation requirement and the participation position and the participation level. There is an issue with the physical participation. There is an issue with economical participation and also the mental participation. And there are also, we call it a complete participation. So if you see the second slide, you see different, there is researcher-dominated research, RR. We have FF. So many things are done by farmers only. So there is no researcher. There are interventions, agricultural development performed only by researchers. That is totally dominated by researchers or agriculturalists, and that is what we are advocating. For example, the previous speaker was mentioning there are some areas that cannot be handled by them, and there is a reason why. I'm going to explain that one. And the third, at the lower level, we have a collaboration by a researcher with a farmer. The one on the lead is a researcher, but the farmers can be involved as a collaborator or as a partner. You know, the level of position of the farmers is variable, but at least there is an involvement of farmers with a researcher. But the fourth one is the farmer is on the lead, and also researcher is partnering with the farmer. So you see, who is taking the lead? Where is the position of the farmers, and what level of decision makings are the farmers are involved? These are the central point where we are more, you know, we have to internalize those things. When we really talk about farmer-led, it's not to exclude researchers so that scientific knowledge are overlooked and so on. No, no, no. So there is a concept connected to this one on the next slide, please. Hello? Next slide. This one is a very long time concept. I like this window, you know, it is called Johari, is a Johari window. If you really use this one as a principle or as a working culture for yourself, you can see there are 4 windows. There is a situation where we know, all of us know, what we know, farmers know. But there is a situation, what is known by a scientist is not known by farmers. That's why we need agriculturalists, we need researchers, we need educated people in that. That's why we need education in the agricultural research and extension. But we have to know, as a researchers, as external people, there is a blind spot. A blind spot means you can't see something, but it is known for the farmers. I cannot claim myself, I know everything, but there is a blind spot always with me, and farmers are clearly notified and design a solution. So the blind spot has to be addressed by giving them opportunity either to lead or guide or also to partner. It's up to the attitude and the purpose of the project, but we have to believe there is a knowledge not known by us. There is a knowledge not known by farmers. There is a knowledge we don't know also. So there is something also nobody knows, you know. Both researchers and the farmers don't know about. So we have to explore together. Under that condition, we really need the farmers to collaborate with us. No matter what, whether the researcher is the leader or the farmer is a leader, but we have to address together. What is not good is when we really misuse our farmers as only as a source of information, and using that information, we proceed alone. Instead of that, we always use farmers' knowledge and involve them in action, planning, strategy, decision-making, and so on. Please, the next. I think that one is the 4th one. Not the 4th one, actually. For example, this is an example of a farmer's field school. The farmer's field school has been initiated long time ago. You know, it's a very long time initiative, but researchers were started to promote it since 1997. But it was started so many like in 1950. Can you imagine? So that means the basic concept of the farmer-led extension or farmer-to-farmer extension is, you know, there is a concept that we have to understand. If I listen, I may forget. If I see, I may remember. If I do, I may also remember it. If I discover, I may own it. If I practice, I may perfect on the situation. So in farmers field school, one can see, do, discover, and practice. So it is an extension teaching model where a farmers, if you see in the picture, the extensionist is on the lead. The extensionist is on the lead, educating the farmers. So there are a group of farmers involved in the process. There is also a facilitator. There is also a structured curriculum. There is also a program leader and financing. Under this condition, even if the lead, the process lead is by the researchers or extensionists, but there is an involvement of farmers, a very clear involvement of farmers, a very good recognition for the farmers to demonstrate what they know. But even if they are not at the level of farmer-led kind of interventions. Can you go please for the next one? This is the final one. We have different concepts, different names. We have, for example, a farmer-led research, farmer-centric research, action research, participatory research, participatory technology development, living labs, farmer field schools. You know, this is quite confusing. I fully agree when researchers or extensions are confused about these terms, because some researchers working on a farmer's research approach, there is always a challenge by partners. I'm doing it already. Why are you really advocating as if you are introducing something new? Because I'm already a farmer-centric. My organization is doing my participatory research, you know. This is a very common reaction. But as partners, we have to understand first the concept. We have to understand the concept means in a farmer-led research, we have an issue where farmers initiate the research. And then we want to empower the farmers and the participants. It could be also only farmers themselves, a farmers group, but also they can invite researchers or organizations that can facilitate their knowledge, their experimentation, and their communication. So this is how we call it farmer-led. In my case, as a breeder, let me tell you my story. I was in a very frustrating position because I have been following what I was taught in the university. Means I introduced multi-location trial, I did all the analyses, all the scientific procedures, and so on. But the issue comes, I was not able to recommend the varieties that can be possible for the area. Because as it was mentioned by the first presenter, the area is very dry and very dynamic and changing, and there is a differential response of varieties. I recommend this year, in the next year, that variety becomes the last one. So I never listen to farmers. I always consider myself, I am the one who provides the solution to these farmers. So finally, I was frustrated. I was about to leave the area, even if I was committed to contribute to my birth area. But I said, how can I survive as a breeder if I don't release varieties? So this area is not really made for agriculture. It has to be abandoned. I just follow what was told by policymakers or by other researchers. So I said I have to move to the central part of Ethiopia. So I met one senior breeder from Mikarda, Dr. Salvatore. I told him, I am not happy to work here, even if this is an area where I have to address, but I can't do it. There is no solution for this area. You can't recommend variety, especially for indigenous crops who are very sensitive for GBA interaction and who are also diploid, and the number of chromosomes is low, so I cannot do anything here. I was totally collapsed. Because if you are a breeder, you are recognized by the number of varieties you release. That is the purpose of my employment, you know. So he told me, Fetien, please, your approach is wrong. Can you give a leadership to farmers? Can you consider them so that you try? So I listened to him. I had also my own mentor, Dr. Ann Waters-Bayer. She is the first mentor for me who cultivated me. And then I followed the advice of this senior. And then what I did was I went to find out if we have a farmer breeder. And indeed I found a farmer to his own right. He promoted 3 varieties to the area, and they are always beating us. And, you know, I was really surprised, and I did a GBA interaction analysis. I listened to him, I compare his variety, and his varieties becomes outstanding. So after that, I make crossing, and I advocate for specific adaptation. The area is possible for breeding, but there was a wrong approach where we don't listen our farmers. So I was the first person to convince for the introduction of decentralized breeding by regions, specific adaptation. This result becomes because I start to listen our farmers. Guess what? After that, I released 6 varieties, and one of the varieties is named after my name. That's why African Union, and I went also to Malawi for Impresa Award, Impact on Research and so on. So, you know, I was so much promoted. I was so happy, and you know, I'm also cultivating young people. And yeah, I'm just using the same concept also here we have in the US, we have dry areas. We are underserved farmers. I was so surprised. I thought it is only in Africa, but I was listening. The previous presenter is the same also in the UK, elsewhere in the world. So this is a global issue. So farmer-led is a very nice if you internalize it. And the second point is farmer-centric research, a farmers-focused design its relevance outcomes, but the leader here is a research. But they put farmers in the center of the agenda. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying it's a different approach. And action research, it has also the same thing again on the leadership, it's only the research. I will tell you about participatory research. It is also inclusive, co-creation and consideration of local knowledge is here. But most of the time, you know, they narrate, I involve this amount of farmers, they made scoring with me and so on. And, you know, it's only description. Even a farmer trait was not included in the analysis so that it can give a decision and interpretation of the data by considering the farmer's relevant traits. But they are not included in the analysis, they remain on the description of the paper. I analyzed 150 participatory research publications, and all of them are researchers-led, and they never give emphasis on the farmer scoring to be on the decision-making side position. They don't consider on the spatial analysis, they don't include the farmer's relevant traits. This is why we are also creating awareness, the involvement of farmers at on the level of and position, decision making. You know, you have to remember, where are the farmers? Where are my farmers? Am I involving them? Am I honest? Am I stealing their knowledge? What I am doing, you know? So this is the issue that we have to underline. And participatory technology development is a joint development. Sometimes, you know, farmers can be on the lead, and this is more, we call it like a collaborative approach. There is a consultative approach where you can rent their land and gather your data and go and publish your own data and make decisions at a policy level, design an intervention strategy by ignoring farmers. This is where we call it consultative kind of approach. But if it is collaborative, there is a possibility of participatory technology development and co-creation. And the next one is living labs. Actually, this is quite new for me. You know, people, they want to be innovative and they create names. Then it adds confusion. But it's like a real world testing, and it also promotes innovations, adoptions, and involvement of stakeholders. But I tried to read about this one. I think whether it is a new or old concept, I couldn't find more explanations, and it's quite new for me also. I would like to read more to understand, but I found this one is one of the term. You know, these participatory things, sometimes people use it as a cosmetic, and they create confusion by adding new words and so on. So sometimes some of the words, we can categorize them in the same, as long as they recognize farmers to be on the leadership. Because there are business ideas, there are climate solution ideas that came from farmers. So if we don't involve them, it is not also a question of right, but it is a question of addressing the dynamics challenge we are facing. For example, there are indigenous foods, you know. These indigenous foods are discovered by, mostly in Africa, by women farmers. But most of food-related activities ignores totally women farmers. You know, when I was a consultant in Ethiopia, and the household head was explaining to us about the change they brought, the poultry production, and so on. And the woman was not there. And I asked him if he can show us the egg. He couldn't find it because it is a woman who put it. And he has to call her. And I said, why you are not involving her in this decision when she is the one taking care of it, you know? So, you know, giving the chance, giving access to the people who deserve, it would help us to bring solutions together. It's a very beautiful approach when we really give access to our farmers and when we listen them, not only listening them, when we bring them into decision-making positions. So the purpose of this presentation is to provide some clear presentations on the concept, and I would like more to listen to you and to give some reactions on your question. Thank you so much. I don't know if I talk too much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prof. I wouldn't say you talk too much because it was so nice to listen to you. So there is no way I can stop this talk at all. I was more looking at your talk than actually the time. So thank you. It was very enjoyable to share, especially your experience on the field as a breeder. And yeah, I was so pleased, and also looking at the challenges that we are all facing as researchers, and sometimes lack of consideration to what can be done and what can be learned from farmers who sometimes are saying have accumulated like 50 years of experiences. So you can never compare this with like 4 years PhD or 10 years in research. So, but yeah, everyone need to just know where is their position and also have an open mind in the learning scenarios. I definitely love the way you have unpacked the whole question in a more theoretical and practical way. So I think, yeah, I'm not going to take too much time talking, even if I would love to. But as a facilitator, I need to give the floor to the more than 60 people online who might have typical questions addressed to you, or also to Stuart also. So you are free to ask questions to any of those who are presented today. So thank you again, Prof, for this wonderful presentation. So any question online? Otherwise, I will ask a question even if I'm not authorized to ask questions. I'm supposed to facilitate. Okay, yes. Sorry, I don't want to pronounce the name and just squeeze it. I think it's Slotly Sang. Please go ahead with your question. I can see your hand is up, but I cannot pronounce very well your name with my French accent. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me. Thank you very much,
Yes.
two presenters. I really thank you for your presentations. My question goes straight to Prof. Fetain or Abera. The question is, I want to know, since you have worked in Africa and also you are in the United States, what is when you compare the two continents, what is the level of farmer-led research when you compare Africa and the US? Or which one is it more followed in the US compared to Africa, or particularly maybe in Ethiopia?
Thank you so much. I think I will just give the floor to her to answer the question, so we have it in a more interactive way. So, Prof. Fetien, the floor is yours to try to answer a Slotli-san question.
Yeah, I mean, in Africa, there are so much movements on the inclusion of the farmers-led concepts, and you know, so much activities because of the stakeholders partners for Africa are also includes Europeans and you know the whole world. And in addition to that, Africa is very diverse continent. It's very rich in terms of diversity agriculturally. It's, you know, everything here. When I came here, you know, to be honest, I'm working on sorghum. The one, the sorghum behind me on the screen is a local variety from the south part of Tigray. But when I came here, the genotype background of the hybrids and so on came from Africa, because Africa is the origin of so many crops. So I see, after I came here, I see how much Africa is very important for global agricultural development. And I see also the reason of partnership with Africa. So Africa learns some knowledge and technological innovations, and Africa also provides, those kind of things. So the level of farmer-led is more popular in Africa. Here, they are very, very serious, and they are also interested to include farmers, but it's more on top down. To be honest with you, it's more on top down. Guiding, the extension where we can teach them and so on. So here it is more also commercial oriented, but also kind of top down is more dominant than the farmer orientation. But there are very interesting innovations and initiatives I have observed here. For example, they promote farmers market so that farmers have access to provide their produce, and they have also the access to introduce new crop, new opportunity, some tuber crops, you see them dominant. So they promote them, they support them with funding, and there is a situation where the farmers can get supported also for introducing something new. That is the observation I have.
Thank you so much, Prof. I was wondering, is that okay for the one who asked the question? But I just want to go quick to Prince, who has his hand up. Please go ahead with your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Fatin, and thank you, Stuart. I'm not sure whether I pronounced your names correctly, but thank you very much. Mine is, yes, it's so important, and I think I've learned a lot in terms of farmer-led approaches. But my question is on the risks that the farmers face of sort of theft of intellectual property. Is there no risk that as you do farmer-centric, farmer-led, and then maybe you are researching on a variety release or a genetic in the sense of the livestock, that it can actually be stolen from the farmers? How can they be protected? I want to give you the risk of extending the question that we have a breed here called Mashona, a Mashona cattle. And from what I've read, although it is originating in Zimbabwe, now the intellectual property is in Australia. So if you want the genetics, you go to Australia for El Mashona. So this is kind of contextualizing it. Do we have that risk, and how can we mitigate it?
I can step in if you'd like, just to do my point of view on intellectual property is maybe controversial, is I really don't believe most of the things that are protected should be protected in the way they are. I think the point of farmer-led research is actually to break that barrier, to say to the seed companies, actually, no, we're doing our own research here, and we're doing our own breeding of new heritage grains, for example, which is what we're doing. And yeah, I'm going to share that with everyone far and wide, because I want to break that system where they're basically holding on to something which really shouldn't have a value in the way that it does. They haven't spent that much money on it. They're just profiting a huge amount. So I actually think farmer-led research is a really great way of breaking that problem and making sure that the farmers do have access to it all. And if we're being funded by something like Innovative Farmers over here, the point of that is to have shared outcomes from it. So if I want to do a project in that fund and then keep all of the information for myself as intellectual property, they wouldn't fund it. And I think that's correct. It's public money. And I think if we're going to be paid to research something, then we should have to share what we find. If I put my own research and my own money into doing something, yes, I want to be able to protect that because I need to recoup that cost. But the reality of it is I think farmer-led research is really great. Using farmers for research for profiteering is a completely different subject and not something I'm willing to be involved with.
Thank you so much for that. So I think I'm going to go quickly to give the floor to Benito before I read the question that has been put on the chat. Or if Prof want to say something about this, please, you can go ahead before.
Yeah, the property right. I think whether we promote farmer-led or not, the issue of property right is already there, you know. It is the unfortunate thing is we are not like we are reaching genetic resource. So these genetic resource are something you move them around. You can take them in your pockets and so on. There are so many issues, you know. Some companies also made agreement. For example, the agreement they did in Ethiopia with an organization about TAFE, you know, the company was supposed to agree and they steal the indigenous knowledge of TAFE preparation and then they declare they are in bankruptcy and it was found that company was registered under different name. It wasn't a bankruptcy, but they don't want to pay a royalty fee. And even they put patent after that, so that even farmers or consumers in Ethiopia, they don't have right to make use of that one, you know. So it was about to be taken to a court and so many researchers from Norway and a lot of movements. So this kind of issue is very common, but it's not related because of the farmer-led. It is there, you know, it is there. So this is the African policymakers. They have to really empower and they have to build the farmer right issue. For example, there was when the passport data is documented by the Conservation Institute of Ethiopia. One clear example I want to give you, there was a name called Woolard, and that is already available in the passport database of Barley for Ethiopia. When I did my farmer-led research, I found the name Woolard means progeny, the progeny of the selection of that farmer in that area. So it wasn't like a local accession, but it was on the selection process by a farmer. If I did a farmer-led with the farmers and published that one, giving recognition the Woolard is the knowledge of the farmers, then if someone uses this germplasm outside Ethiopia or not, you can hold them, you know. But when we don't have evidence, we can't do anything. You can take also the decaffeinated coffee already used by Brazil, and it was imported from Ethiopia, but Ethiopia are not in a position to get that reality because the issue was taken, this was taken before the CBD was prepared. So, you know, this is a very complicated topic where the African government has to balance the intellectual property versus the farmers' right property. So there is a royalty fee arrangement, the European versus the US approach. This is another hot topic, but it's not. It is not coming because of we introduce a farmer-led. We cannot also isolate ourselves from collaboration. You know, we cannot grow because by fearing that, we can't avoid the collaboration and giving. Even I would rather recommend we document all the knowledge and we document all the knowledge by farmers, giving them recognition. And this is an evidence where African governments are also in a position to advocate for their rights. Because all the scholarships, all the benefits given to Africans already reported under a benefit sharing of each country. So this is something that there is a very interesting question from the chat I have read, how a coordinator can work with the farmers, because the project is very much interested to bring the farmers' agenda, and the coordinator are also supposed to do that one. When there is a gap on this, I would say there is a need to support the coordinator with someone experienced to guide him or to guide her, and also showing her and facilitating meetings with the farmers and helping them to speak about it, you know. So this is very, very important, but the attitude of the coordinator need to be, he need to be open to learn, you know, let alone from farmers. My son, he's 21 years old, was teaching me on Python code and making some figures for my presentation. I consider this one as a reverse mentoring. I always consider my son as my teacher because I cannot know everything. He is more knowledgeable on data analysis than me by now. So farmers, they have a time-tested knowledge. We have to believe them. And the most important thing I want to tell you today, the farmers are very smart. They read our heart. They know who is really who wants to work with them, who is not really. They know that, and they give different informations. If they know you are with their friends, you are the true friend and collaborator, they will tell you everything. If they know you just came there and you don't recognize them, they would give an answer what you need. So that is not going to work in the future. So I wanted to give an information to you to build trust with farmers. To build trust, you have to sit with them, we have to eat with them, we have to interact with them, the friendship. They are human beings like us, you know. But with a big gap, sitting in a chair and spending very few time with them, and they really understand you are not serious on the friendship. So this is a way how I could react. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof, for tackling the question and giving us a more open mind in addressing or in understanding this issue. So I will give the floor to Benito to ask his question. Then I will go on reading the question which is on the chat.
Okay, thank you, Evelyn, and thank you, Stuart and Eugene. I think some of the things I wanted to ask you have touched on them, especially considering the farmers' rights and the situation under which most of the farmers in Africa are operating, and the social status of most of the farmers that we are dealing with, that most of them, they don't know their rights, as Stuart knows his rights, and he can argue with anyone about his rights. But our farmers in Africa, they don't. And we have seen a lot of extraction of information and data from them without them knowing what that data is going to be used for. And under such circumstances, first of all, maybe if you put yourself in an African environment, and you want to advise those that control, so those that manage research, for the improvement in terms of collaboration of research between farmers and the scientists, what should be your advice in terms of what needs to be done? Maybe 2 or 3 major things that needs to be done for us to start moving towards proper collaboration. And also, Fetian, from the scientist point of view, what are the main enablers that you think should be there to build trust between the scientists and farmers, so that we can have an agenda that is agreeable to all and is beneficial to all?
What is it that we need to do? I will ask those two questions.
Can I?
Thank you so much, Benito. I will just give quickly the floor to Fetien and also to Stuart if you want to add something. Yeah, to give their thought on the question.
I'll jump in quickly. I think you're exactly correct. And I think most people as farmers are terrified of losing their IP. I would say one thing, and that is there is no point dying with great ideas. So holding ideas inside yourself because you're worried they're going to be stolen is the most crazy thing you could possibly do. It's selfish, in fact. So I think that's number one. Don't die with great ideas. But the second thing I think is that I think there's actually organizations on this meeting today who have the opportunity to put out some sort of standardized contract. So what I think, I haven't been involved in research in Africa, but lots of organizations will come in, take ideas, take knowledge, and then leave. So it's extractive, like you said. But is there an opportunity to say to all farmers, actually, guys, if you want to do this with these random companies, these random organizations, these research institutions who maybe are very legitimate, make sure you get this contract, which is a standardized contract that says anything that we discuss is not to be protected under IP status. You know, is there a way of making some sort of standardized contract that every farmer knows exists and therefore has access to and is a baseline that you can put to a company? And if a company doesn't want to sign it, red flags go up, don't they? And so I think those are the kind of things where organizations such as Agroecological or whoever is involved with these kind of things, who could come up with these solutions to protect farmers, to make this sort of bubble around farmers to protect them in these often really awful extractive situations.
Thank you for this answer. I don't know if Prof. Fetien want to say something, but there is a question which is a bit linked to this that I wanted to ask from Noel. And he was wondering, how do you ensure that smallholder farmers, especially the youth and the women, are not only participants but co-owners of the research agenda? I could hear Stuart saying that don't die with great ideas. So how do we get involved into this co-ownership and also allowing or giving a kind of small power to smallholder farmers, especially youth and women who are usually neglected in the whole slot, so that they are not only participants, they just don't participate. At least they get the legacy of the I mean, I guess the research result. He said here the research agenda. What are your thoughts on this, Professor? You can at the same time answer the other questions.
Thank you. Before this, there was a very good question, two questions. I forgot his name. He asked me about how we can improve this, this kind of thing and how we start, I think the best way is, from my experience, because I worked in different countries of Africa on this topic, and just my example is sufficient, because when I went to national workshops, regional workshop, I speak about farmers. When there is a farmer already seen in the campus of my university, everyone says maybe they are looking for Fetien, as if I am the only belongs to the farmers. So no one was really interested. But we graduated with agriculture, can you imagine? So it's a very challenge at the beginning. It was very challenging for me. Nobody listened to me. Those popular national leaders who contributed for the policy, who contributed for agricultural recommendation, who made decisions at the national level so that we in the region should receive everything there, when we advocate, no one was listening us. So as part of my PhD, I designed a farmer participatory varietal selection. I sit with the farmers. I asked them, do you have any variety I want to include? Because I want to compare the performance, why we are failing in this region. So I include as a treatment the release varieties. I include them, the recently released one. And I asked farmers, what varieties do you think I have to include in this? I went to different villages and I told them I wanted to compare your varieties with the national release. So please give me any varieties you think compatible. So they are so happy to give me the list of varieties that need to be tested. Can you imagine? So I did a testing of 12 environments. A farmer breeder told me, Fetian, the only thing you have good is you know how to give a good name for your new technology. When they are not good, you know how to select the names. That's what he told me. And I did all the GBI interaction. It becomes like, 100% failure. The one recommended for that specific region by the national breeders was 100% neglected and rejected by farmers. The physical environment neglected it, and the farmer's perception trait neglected it. And then what I did was I did analytical analysis so that it clearly showed me those release varieties are very good in their selection environment. But the dry area should not be a target environment for this area. So I advocate, I organize policy sensitive kind of workshops. We need a decentralized breeding because Ethiopia is a diverse country. And I presented my publications. I published in a good journal. Can you imagine the national breeders who start to nod their head? The one who don't like me before. Fetian, who recommend this one? We don't know about this. We are very sad, something like that. They start to listen to me. So empower yourself with analytical skills, empower farmers, design with them, involve them in the planning stage, work with them, get their opinions, all the scores included in the analysis, and publish it, and then organize a policy sensitize and also the technical kind of. How we are going to start something? I would suggest, when I see the young researchers in soil science, crop protection, plant breeding, whatever, they are more flexible than us. We're a very conservative group. So you just collaborate with someone open to learn or started to publish on this area, start guide him or guide her to do something experimental, try to publish that one and go with this publication, go with a fact sheet and try to convince policymakers. With regard to the question you raised now, it is very interesting when it comes to business. It's very, very, very excellent question actually. And that one is true. That one is true. I was involved in establishing 60 seed producer cooperatives. 60 seed cooperatives. We have a national guideline where one head person should involve in the membership of the cooperatives. When the cooperatives becomes more popular in terms of economic empowerment, there was an issue. Is it possible to introduce a joint membership in the cooperative so that the pictures of the husband and wife can be involved? And it really needs to change a policy, and it becomes an interesting to advocate again with marketing cooperatives. From my observation, we have so many rules, guidelines we don't know before, but they are the one who really makes fix things, They are not flexible. And we have to work with those groups also to introduce some change. Even I try to introduce the involvement of women farmers in the downstream business. For example, there are leftovers of seeds that are not really promoted for selling as a seed material. They can be used as a food processing. We organize a chapter as a downstream business, a woman food cooperative, so that these women food cooperatives can process it for a food. So we try to empower them that one, but depending on your national policy, I would suggest, if it is possible, to introduce a joint ownership or membership, so that because the women are neglected for training, for example. there is a training exposure visit where members should only allow. I had a participatory research. You know what happened was the area was very powerful. The women are very powerful. And they are the one who makes all the cultivation, weeding, and so on. But the farmer is the one in contact with me. Guess what? I called them for a training. You know what happened? This woman, they said, I'm not going to weed your land because I am not part of it. Do it yourself. So the main complaint, can you involve our women so that they can continue working as recommended? You see, because they are the one who are doing, but they never come to it and they miss all these opportunities. They revolt. They revolt. So I introduced the concept household-based intervention instead of just farmer-based where you pick only, because in American concept, for example, they said farmer and his wife. Is that a woman is also a farmer? Being a daughter of farmer myself, I'm a farmer. I have a time-tested knowledge. I'm a farmer. So this kind of intervention plan are very important. But instead of creating a conflict, it is important more to handle it wisely, because there was an issue in these farmers cooperatives, and we had a questionnaire to women farmers. Do you make decisions? Who make decisions? What kind of crop you have to take, and so on. You already make decision. Why are you asking us? She said, they said, the woman group, they said, you already given him head. The name is given as a family head. When you give him as a family head, he's the one recognizing the bank, in making selections, so many things, Even they are calling for a giant headship, This is very far for
Thank you
Africa.
so much, Prof.
Okay, thank you. I told you
Yeah,
I
thank
never.
you.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's okay. I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want to just try to move toward the closing. But
Okay.
there is very two short questions that I feel like you've already tackled them. The first one, it was more about how do we find that there's often disconnection between the researcher and the farmers. The researchers often do not understand the reality of on-farm research or the practical issue for farmers trying to run a business and carry out research. So, and the person was saying that in our program, we involve a coordinator to try to bring the two groups together, but it does not always work. I think you are just tackling the question about sometimes, yeah, we automatically make people feel they're in a position because we did not involve them or ask them. We try to do our own stratifications at the beginning, and does not help the process to be more inclusive. And also the answer you just gave. So I don't know if you have something to add about this. And the other last question, I just want to make sure that everyone's question is taken into account. It was more, how do we think farmer-driven research might differ to farmers in Africa, where subsidies and incentives are less easy access? So this is just, you have at some point raised them, but I don't know if you have like 2 or 3 sentences maximum to say, just to, try to run out this session. And I'll give the floor also to Stuart to say 2 to 3 sentences. Then we just move toward the closing of this session, which is quite great. I don't think any of us is feeling that we have spent 2 hours online, but it is, and it means the question is a key issue that needed to be addressed in this typical context. So, Prof, the floor is yours quickly to just.
Yeah, thank you. About the access for emergencies and insurances, yes, there is always, support here. They have funding support for emergency things and so on. I agree with the question. There are good initiatives in Africa also, either by projects or European Union. I don't remember. But there are interesting kind of crop insurance agreement or animal insurance. There are some interventions that can be introduced, and you as a partners also, it is always good to propose something together. So I really feel it, and we have always something because of the intervention, because of the research we introduce. If there is a loss, who is going to address that one? Of course, that needs discussion and planning. But I agree with the question, and it is a very important question that we have to address as a project leaders and so on. And then we advocate for governments to take it as one of the budgetary item. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor. And Stuart, there is a little question that has been thrown on the chat. If you can just add this in your response.
No problem.
It's how can farmers collaborate with compliance, as it is very expensive to have, and I'm not sure if the word is tedious.
Tedious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tedious
Very
to keep
boring.
as a young farmer. Yeah, sorry, thank you.
No, I think every farmer knows that compliance is tedious. But I think we have to be realistic that we are running businesses. We aren't running lifestyles. We are running businesses. And so every business has to do compliance. And sadly, that's the world we live in. So I think, but collaborating together, and this kind of goes into the next one above, actually, looking at how you get involved with research and how you can sort of really benefit as a smallholder or a young person or women. I think it's working together. And so come together as a group and to start with. If you think you're too small to do something on your own, find someone else who has a similar interest. And together, you're so much more powerful than even two individuals. So I think working together, and compliance is in the same light. Maybe you could collaborate with neighbors, and one person knows how to do this one element of compliance and one person knows how to do this other element of compliance. Working together is the key. And then going back up through, I would say for getting farmers to work together and to be, choosing to have a coordinator to work with them, I think that works really well. But the way that it's going to really be effective is all farmer-led research should start with a farmer. The ideas have to come from a passionate farmer, because you're never going to get the buy-in and therefore the work and the effort and the thought power from a farmer unless they are the one who really drove it from the very beginning. And I think that's where, if I'm involved actually with things that I'm not the instigator of, I don't pay as much attention to them. I don't put as much effort in. And so I think farmer-led is the key to that one. And then going back to the question around about subsidies and how everyone can get involved. Well, the reality of innovation is that absolutely everyone should and can do it every single day. You should always put at least 10% of your entire effort of the year into innovation. And it doesn't have to cost anything. Say, for example, you're going to plow a field at 6 inches instead of 8 inches. So that doesn't cost anything. It's just a setting on your plow. And then you can look at the differences in yield. And if your margins are so tight that you can't risk that, probably you need to change your whole business because your margins are too tight. So we all have space for a little innovation. And it's the same if, I don't have time to innovate. Well, then you're going to go, either someone's going to come past you and become a much more successful business person because they did innovate, or you're literally going to not be there in the future. And so you need to innovate. It's not optional. It's part of running a business. And so, and it doesn't have to cost, and it doesn't need collaboration. Everyone can do innovation on their own patch of land or patch of business.
Oh, thank you so much, Stuart, for this great answer. And I feel like we are not yet there. We are not yet there yet, because actually, Paul, I still have some burning question to raise. But the good thing is that this is the first, and we still have a lot for the sessions to come to continue the discussion on the topic. Some people are looking for Stuart's contact. I think part of it has been online. I don't know if you can drop your email address or your contact on the chat for people who want to connect with you quickly before the sessions ends. And yes.
There we go. I put my email on there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I think,
there is a very good question. One question I want to address. How can you
Yes.
ensure ownership by farmers for a farmer joint research, farmer-led
Yeah.
research? It is
Okay.
very important question. Actually, all the participants asked me very fascinating questions. So the question, this one, of course, it's very important because it should not be hit and run. There is a very good experience from India. You know what they do? Nepal and so on. They innovate together. They give recognition if there is a discovery on medicine, for example, if a pharmacy promoted it, and there is an agreement signed by the farmer group and the company, they pay to the company also. It's part of the legislation. The same thing on variety publication also. There are also some scientists who involve also the name of that farmer in the publication. And then property right, in the property right, because it's being promoted for the purpose of business, and in the property right also they give also the name of the farmers or the community as a joint. But this is very minimum in Africa, I tell you. There is still a
Okay.
domination in this regard. It needs a continuous discussion on this, but I like the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much. Before I give the floor to the people who are supposed to thank you in the best way, I just want to say that I had a very great pleasure to facilitate this session and have learned myself a lot as a researcher. And yes, we should keep in touch because most of the emails have been shared here, and hopefully the session which has been recorded and all the accompanying document will be shared with everyone online today to continue brainstorming and then continue thinking about how we go from farmer-led approaches and to move forward for a better food security by protecting the environment. I think this is a key essential aspect, not only producing for producing and also keeping in mind that the generation to come has also a legacy to get from us and a legacy to leave the space for those who are going to come after us. So thank you again for having me for 2 hours talking, and also I will leave the floor to the two people who have made the opening session to come back and then just say a normal and right thanks to everyone online before the session would be closed. So I'm calling here Mr. Ishmael, if he's still online, and then after Mr. Lucas to come and just close this session. Thank you from my side. I'm leaving the floor to you. Cheers. Thanks.
I think if Mr. Sunga is not around, I think Mr. Benito, yeah, it's already all right. Thank you very much. It's already online.
I'm around. Benito will do that for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ishma. I thought I saw you, but I thought maybe you're not around. But yes, this is very important topic, and thank you, our facilitator, for the work that you have done. I think you have really facilitated well. And as you said, it's just the beginning. We are hoping that the next two series also, it will have high patronage as it is now, because there are a lot of issues that we really need to discuss as farmers organizations and our partner Agricot, so that we are able to address issues that are pertinent to the success of the agri-food sector in Africa, and I hope in Europe as well. So we thank you so much. And we thank you, Stuart and Fetian, also for your presentations, which were very practical. And I think most of us, we can relate with what you have said. Despite the challenges that we have, I think your presentations, both of you, gives us hope that we can do it in Africa. We start step by step by understanding from the experiences that you have gone through, and we really appreciate that. Our translators, I want to thank you as well. You made it possible that our colleagues in French and Portuguese can follow the discussions and we don't take this for granted, but you have done commendable work, and we thank you so much. Finally, let me thank our partner, Agricot. I think this collaboration is very important. And in this group, we have a lot of young agripreneurs, and they are learning a lot. And this is the future that we have. And I've seen that most of them, they want to connect with Stuart. So if you get a lot of inquiries from these young people, please work with them, guide them, because we think these are the people that will make this a reality. And lastly, but not least, I want to thank all of you, the participants. I think as Ishmael started at the opening that we are about 50, but now I see we are 55. I believe after Agricot has made the closing remarks, I will request you to put on your cameras so that we can have a group photo. So please prepare for that camera group photo as I give to Agricot for closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Benito. And I will not keep you too long. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who spoke today, everybody who posed questions, everybody who listened in. I saw we had quite many participants, and I hope the next time we will have as many or even more. So please be part of the conversation. I hope next time we will see you all again when the next webinar is on. So thanks a lot. And yeah, I think we can take the picture and close the session.
All right, I'm going to prepare for the picture. If you can all just turn your cameras on, please. I just want to change my view.
Smile.
No, sorry, I'm so used to working on Teams that now I'm on Zoom. I'm a bit lost where to change my view because I would like to see all of you. And I'm now not fine. Oh, there we go. I've got it. Let me see. Gallery. There we go. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to take 2 photos. So I'll tell you when to smile. I'm going to do the first screen. Please smile. Just give me a second to post that. And then I'm going to do the second one. And that last one. All right. The second one, I'm just waiting for a few more to come up. All right. There we go. Smile, please. Thank you very much. There we go. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
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 Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
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 Bye bye.
Yes, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. Bye bye.